What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast. We just recently made this live, so you can watch me tape this in real time in conjunction with our partners over at Believe. You can catch us all day long, anywhere, YouTube, social media. We never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes. I am the coach. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed Coach and Company this morning. It was an F Day, Rant Wednesday, and we had a ton of fun. We always do. Go check that out on demand, either on social media or on our YouTube channel. We are live also every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, live on the Stadium Network in over 110 million homes. The reason we do a separate podcast every single day is that we like to take a little deeper dive. Not everybody likes sports betting. Not everybody bets. They're just sports fans. That's who we are as well. But to me, growing up in the WWE, growing up at ESPN, over a decade at both places, the one thing I know is this: there is no substitution for star power. When I was in the WWE, it was the greatest time ever because you had 20 to 25 guys and ladies that could main event a pay-per-view. And that's why you sold a ton of pay-per-view, because people wanted to see The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker and Triple H, and the list goes on and on. So in the sports world, the games must go on as well, even without star power, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, when an NBA champion is crowned in 20 years, nobody's going to look back and say, well, they had to beat the Celtics without Jason Tatum. They had to beat the Warriors without Steph Curry. Nobody's going to say that. So there's no need to feel sorry for anybody, especially the defending champions who have found out, unfortunately, non-contact injury, and most of these are torn Achilles. Had surgery yesterday. Obviously, he's going to be out for an extended period of time. Here's the bad part for the Boston Celtics. They just sold for $6 billion. They've got some very wealthy investors and new owners that do not want to wait to rebuild. And now you've got Jason Tatum, and the Achilles injury is normally a year. Even with the advancement in medicine and treatment to the NBA game at a high level, it is a year. We saw running back, can't remember his name, first name's Cam, for the Rams, who came back in 8 months from that injury. But that's very, very rare. So for Tatum to get hurt at this point is devastating. Because let's fast forward. Let's say it is a year. Let's say it's 11 months. You're talking the beginning of April before he'd be able to come back for the Boston Celtics. So how do they approach not just the end of this year, but the entirety of next year when you put this team together to have a 3 to 5 year run? Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Jason Tatum. Those were the three. Then you had Drew Holiday, great piece. Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year. Al Horford, 38 years of age. Can you bring him back? And then who can forget about Kristaps Porzingis? So this team was set up. Now you're going to miss your best player. You're going to miss your heartbeat. And so tonight, as they get set for Game 5, what is the mentality? What is the motivation? They have proven they can win without Jason Tatum before. But when it's a Game 5, Bruce, I see you in the chat live. Can I get a point prop? This is not a sports betting show. We come here to discuss sports. Got to watch Coach and Company for that, but I want you to stay. That's why we do this podcast, to dive deeper into and from a betting perspective, but this is not a sports betting podcast. But since you asked, Bruce, why don't we go to BetMGM while we have this game on topic? And if you want a point prop and you want a shutout game tonight, every game that's gone on, Jalen Brunson has been more and more and more aggressive. And you think he's going to let one game? Because we've seen how quickly somebody can get hurt. So if I was to give you a point prop, Mr. Bruce, I would definitely take Jalen Brunson now before it goes up, like Raphael said it could today, or before the juice gets any higher. Right now at BetMGM, he's over 27.5. He easily got into the 30s in game number 4. And it's a road game, which means stars take more of the responsibility. So, Bruce, I would play Jalen Brunson. Do it now before either the juice changes or the number goes up to 28 or 28.5. I don't know that I would play anybody else. I wouldn't touch anybody in that Warriors-Timberwolves game. But the Knicks and Celtics, I don't mind Cat at minus 115 at 19.5. I really don't. But the Celtic stars have been so inconsistent, I can't lean into any of them. Jaylen Brown juiced minus 130, 25.5. Derek White, 18.5. Porzingis, 15.5. I don't like any of those. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think the Boston Celtics are going to struggle to get a flow. You don't just get rid of Jason Tatum and think your flow is going to be what it is, if you feel me. So if you're the Knicks, you've got the Pacers waiting. How much do you put into this game tonight? I will tell you, all of it. All of it. You cannot risk even one extra game if you can help it. We don't talk about it a lot. We don't like to focus on the negative of injuries, but that is a reality. Just ask Boston. So if you're the Knicks, you want to get to the finish line as quickly as possible. But somehow the sports books have the Celtics as a pretty big favorite because of the narrative they've done this before. Be careful of the they've done this before narrative. Be very, very careful. The other game tonight, missing star power. And try to tell me with a straight face that if you look at these two games a week ago, that you wouldn't be a lot more excited with Jason Tatum and Steph Curry in the lineup. Bruce Randle, to me, has been a little off. Just a little bit off. But I know he's got to be a good backup to Ant-Man. So, quickly, because I know Bruce is on it, and if you're in the chat and you make your voice be heard, I will address it if I can. So, if you're looking at a player prop, Bruce, right now Julius Randle is the third highest number at, he's actually at 22.5 tonight. 22.5 at BetMGM juice to the under, minus 130. Jimmy Butler, 25.5. I don't like it. I think the books are raising his number simply because Steph Curry is out, and they feel like he's going to be the guy. I think he has proven he's a great 2. He's a great 3, but he's not a great 1 anymore. He's not the guy that's going to go out and get 30 when Steph Curry is out. He has proven that the last 2 games as they've gotten beat, specifically in the second half. Scored 60 in the first half of game 4, couldn't do anything in the second half. Ant-Man apparently had a big locker room speech. I'd love to hear that one. So tonight, I would stay away from everything point prop related. If you have to do it, and you want to do it with fun, if you are trying to roll over your money from the early game, I get it. If I was picking one, it would be Ant-Man, because I think he's got this kind of dog inside of him that on certain nights he realizes who he is. And I'm hoping that A-Rod or MJ gives him a call or somebody tells him these are the games that you have to step up. This is how you become a star in the NBA. It's not by scoring 28 a game in the regular season. It's when you have a closeout game in May against Golden State, a 4-time champ. That is the narrative. Without Steph Curry. But that's the narrative. And for Ant-Man, to get rid of the immature stigma, the immature way he goes about it, the immaturity of multiple NBA fines this year. This is when you throw all that to the side and say, this is my time. And I'm one of the top 5 players in this entire league. Not just about talk. It's about walk. And that's what I would have as my mindset if I was Ant-Man. And tonight, as far as a number is concerned, clearly the Timberwolves are favored. Sorry, my app is stuck right now. Seems like we have a lot of stickiness today, but 10.5. Minnesota, a big favorite tonight. -110 over the Warriors at home. You are listening or watching the Coach and Company podcast. When I am home, when I'm inside the friendly confines, we have a separate podcast from the morning show every single weekday. Now, the NFL is always front page news. It seems like whatever they touch, Midas touch. Billions and billions of dollars. We did a story that if you want to consume every single NFL game this coming football season, you will spend out of pocket a minimum of $1,500. Now, you could look at it in other ways. Be like, you're paying that for 4 months and multiply it out. But the bottom line is you will pay a minimum of $1,500 for all the platforms that the NFL is going to be this coming season. That's how you dominate the market. So they roll out the primetime games, the international games, and now yesterday they rolled out some of the holiday games. And there's one I'm particularly a little pissed off about. Because in my fandom, when I take the Coach and Company hat off and I put the Chiefs hat on, the schedule can very much play into how your season goes. And when you're a defending champion or you have high-level stars like Kelsey and Mahomes, they're going to put you in primetime and on holidays. And I don't know how you at home feel about your team playing on a holiday. It could be nice because you have the entire window to yourself. And this year, my Chiefs have to travel to Dallas to play the Cowboys. Have we gotten to a point that the Cowboys need another A-list team to get the attention you want on Thanksgiving, a day and a game that you have dominated for 30 or 40 years? You got to use my squad? I got to throw up my weekly preparation to help out the Cowboys? Because that's what it is, let's be honest. There is no substitute for star power. That is the theme of today's podcast, whether it's the NBA or whether it's the NFL. But the NFL has done a really good job of capitalizing on it. It's about quarterbacks. It's about wide receivers. It's now, once again, because of a couple of names, it's about running backs. Saquon, biggest deal ever. JJ, Justin Jefferson. Mr. Jamar Chase, $40 million plus to catch the rock. The world is changing. And now they're throwing games on all 5 days. Do I love it as a fan and a content creator with a national sports and sports betting show? Hell yeah, I love it. Thursday Night Football on Amazon, paying billions. Let's go. Last year, the first ever Friday game, I believe in Brazil. We'll be down there again this year. You're going to have Saturday games later in the year. Sunday, absolutely. And Monday, multiple, from what I've heard and seen, the double headers that have become so popular. What this allows them to do is to dominate so many different television windows and counteract some of the cord cutting that's being done and also add to your money for set apps, whether it's the Netflix app on Christmas, whether it is the YouTube TV app for the Red Zone channel, Sunday Ticket. Got to pay for all of it. And when you do that, a lot of people complain. We all do it. It's the new normal. You'll never hear me complain about paying for Amazon Prime to watch Coach and Company every single day. Nope. I'd pay way more to watch myself on TV, wouldn't you? I wonder what that number would be. How much money would you spend to watch yourself on a platform? That's an interesting question. If you had your own, let's say, small YouTube show, and you had an opportunity to be seen by millions, And on said platform, you could then watch yourself. How much money would you pay? Now, I know it's a crazy scenario to think that a little YouTube show could be seen by a network in over 100 million homes and then sign on and be their number one. Oh, wait. No, it's not a fantasy. It's our reality. Because when you do good work, you have great production, and you have really good people, you can make leaps and bounds. But how much would you, if you were on Coaching Company, how much would you pay? Let me know on the X. Send me a tweet. Amazon Prime, DirecTV, YouTube TV. How much would you pay to watch yourself? It's a very, very interesting question. Now, one of the others, as you're watching and listening to Coaching Company, the podcast, every single weekday. And right now, boom, we are live. Sometimes when you have a show or a podcast, it's all opinion-based. And when it's opinion-based, a lot of times, dirt sheets, as I like to call them, websites, they're looking for clicks. And to get clicks, you've got to put up headlines that make people want to come in and read your headline. And so a lot of times they'll take part of a sentence or they'll have a misquote. It's out of context. There are no rules, and I have been caught in this before, and a lot of people who do this hate it. Happened to me last week with a Bailey comment from WWE. It was an 8-minute conversation. My headline, one sentence. Oh, coach, you're saying mean things about the women at WWE or Bailey, or as hers, talking about the character. On a show we watch, just like I would talk about any other character. And to me, athletes are also characters. I never talk about their personal lives or things they do. I've made my own mistakes in life. So we're going to judge anybody. But what we're going to do is talk about different topics, whether they are male-related or female-related. And there's been a lot of discussion the last year since Caitlin Clark made her arrival into the WNBA that the players should be making way more money. Angel Reese, who I personally believe is the most overrated star in the WNBA. And I've said that many, many times. God bless her for all of the endorsements she's been able to get. We'll never hate on anybody for that. But getting those endorsements, then for Angel Reese and a few others, has come with, well, my opinion is now valued. I'm now a voice of the WNBA. And so Angel Reese and a few others have said, oh, we're gonna strike until we get the money that we deserve. We're not going to play until we get on par or the same level as the men. And as a sports fan who understands how these deals work, it is unbelievably frustrating when people continue to have a voice that don't understand what they're talking about. The WNBA, 2 seasons, 2 out of however many they've had, well over a quarter century, have made a profit. It is a losing game. The NBA owners, for the most part, take on the WNBA franchise because it's connected to the NBA franchise. And they honestly do it as a favor to fans in that city. Because if these were individually owned franchises, most of them would be out of business because they haven't made money, which is the entire premise of a business. I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy to think about starting something and thinking about revenue instead of just hanging out with my buddies every single day and patting me on the back. Everything as an adult we do, unless it is a side hustle, should lead to revenue. And for the WNBA, more news of that has come out today. Years ago, the Mohegan Sun entity, the tribe, you have Mohegan Sun and you have Foxwoods, and they're owned by different tribes in the state of Connecticut. I lived there for 20 years when I was in the WWE and ESPN, and they are very, very, very nice properties. And they bought the Connecticut Sun. Well, now the people that control the money and control Mohegan Sun are looking to either move the team away from Mohegan Sun, and it's in the middle of nowhere. To get to Mohegan Sun, it is 2 hours from New York. It's an hour and a half from Boston, where I lived working at ESPN. It's an hour and a half to get there. So it's not the ideal location if you want to put 10,000 seats in butts. It's why UConn will play in Hartford instead of on campus. Because on campus is smaller and it's not as easy to get to in Connecticut. Mohegan Sun's even worse. So what is the narrative if a team is trying to relocate, trying to sell the team, trying to do anything? They hired a bank to look and say, what can we do differently? There's never been a more popular time for the WNBA than right now. So why can't they make money? Caitlin Clark getting all the haters last year. She's making north of $20 million a year in endorsements and about $140,000 to play in the WNBA. That's the reality. Her and her agents and her team realize we are not going to send her overseas like we did with Diana Taurasi, like what happened to Brittany Griner. And then Brittany Griner ends up spending a damn near year in prison when she was just trying to go over and play and make $1 million a year in a foreign basketball league that pays 10 times for stars that the WNBA does. But they have really gigantic financial backers. And sometimes if you're a multi-billionaire, you don't care about making money. You care about hanging out with the team and saying you own the team. That's the kind of owner I would be. Make my money somewhere else and then have fun with it over here. But in the WNBA, it's a different story. They're not like a lot of those foreign leagues over there where they have oil money and they just want to be involved. The soccer in Saudi Arabia has gotten so much better. They brought Cristiano Ronaldo over and other stars over to play for their teams. What's the theme of today? There is no substitute for star power. So these WNBA players, Angel Reese has been very quiet as of late because we're now getting down to the time where these players are going to have to figure out, are we going to do one of the dumbest things ever and strike, or are we actually going to look at the issue, be like, okay, this is what we bring in. We get a certain percentage. It is this. These are our max salaries. Hey, maybe I need to become entertaining and make money outside of the league like Caitlin Clark, and I'll give Angel Reese credit. And now Paige Buckets comes in from UConn, and everybody's like, and these are usually people that follow the league real closely, or they work for the league, or they work for a website and a show that focuses on the league, because they have a tendency to not be able to step back and look at the whole picture because they're so heavily invested in it. And it happens all the time. It's not their fault. If I was a part of the WNBA, I'd be fighting like hell to get better TV deals, to get better TV times, to get more games on TV, because the attention is everything. So I get all of that. But the truth of the matter is that when they speak out, then you have a team they're trying to get rid of or down the league in some capacity because the revenue simply is not there. And it's not entirely their fault. And this is where I will get misquoted. Because all these, coach hates the WNBA. No, I don't. Love the WNBA. But I also look at things, and this is big business. And most wealthy business owners are not in business and are not wealthy because they ran businesses that lose money. It's not a hard concept to understand, but it's a difficult concept to stand on when you're giving an opinion because the few, the loudest voices, always say it's BS. But it's not. In this day and age, as all of the media world is changing, as all of the sports world is changing, these leagues are changing with it. And these players have got to understand the battleground that they are playing on. Use, for example, the Stadium Network, who we have a partnership with. They spent millions and millions of dollars on their studio shows. Their executives sat down and said, how best do we move forward? Do we need to spend millions of dollars on a studio show, or can we go out there and find some really good remotely produced shows that will get essentially the same numbers and cost us pennies on the dollar? And that's what they've decided to do. And right now, they're smack dab in the middle of the reorganization, in the rebranding, but it's going to work because the world has changed. I was at ESPN for over 10 years. And you look now, yes, they have a lot of studio shows. They still have the campus, but more and more you're seeing evolving into content creator space and different kinds of talent and work that they've never done before. ESPN just announced a $30 app that will be available starting this fall. A $30 app. It might be the most expensive media app out there. But am I going to pay for it? You're damn right I am. You're damn right I am. That's the world I live in. That's the world that I swim in. You're damn right. I am absolutely going to pay $30 a month to get the ESPN app. Supply and demand. I need to supply, so I got to be part of the demand. And that's what the WNBA and their players need to understand. They think there's more demand when there isn't. I love Caitlin Clark. I love Paige Buckets. And they have a really good marketing machine. But until you have 10, 15, 20 stars that every single night you can put a star on TV, you are going to struggle to get the numbers. Until, and we are a sports betting content also, coaching company, until WNBA takes a step forward in the betting space, that will be another arm what they would grow. Because whether I'm working for the PGA Tour, whether I'm working for coaching company, whether I'm working for the PFL, the one thing that is the easiest way to increase viewership is to add betting to it. We just did it last week for ESPN Bet. Ton of fun. I got more tweets based off that 2 hours than I did the other 8 hours combined. There are certain ways to do things, but a lot of traditional people don't want to do it because it's different. Don't want to admit that some punk kid on TikTok is making millions of dollars a year because supply, demand. In that world, they are stars, even though most of them have zero talent. And as a professional, and there's a lot of my peers that feel this way, it is absolutely infuriating to watch some punk kid, stream his life 24 hours a day and call that talent. Or you have these creators that don't know anything about live content, live shows, live anything. Everything is heavily edited. And these networks that hire them without having them try out, they can't understand, why do they suck? Everything is changing. There is no substitution for star power. Do not forget, every single weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we are live on the Stadium Network and everywhere that you find Stadium, Amazon Prime Video, DirecTV, YouTube TV, the list goes on and on. And then also 2 p.m. Eastern Time on our Coaching Company YouTube page, we have weekday wagers. DG, Robbie Hockey, and Mark from JTS will give you the latest updates on lines and anything that's going on in the afternoon heading into the evening. Also, do not forget, tomorrow is Thursday. That means we have the Coach and Bro Show live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time as we break down all things in the world of wrestling. All right, that's going to do it for now. For Producer Man behind the scenes, I am the Coach. I'll see you next time right here on the Coach and Company podcast.